was it like to be part of the military, or why, or what did you feel when you joined?
Well, I'm still currently part of the military. I am in the reserves. So when I joined on a basis of a bonus, so a sign-on bonus. I didn't exactly know what I was getting into. So I was at a point in my life where I needed to sell a horse or find a way to have an extra income that my part-time job wasn't giving me, because I was in school full-time. I talked to a recruiter, and they gave me the option of signing up and having my schooling paid for, and then a $20,000 sign-on bonus. So I said yes. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, I'll sign up. I'll do it.
What was your training like?
First I went to basic training, which was, I found it kind of fun, but I kind of liked the challenge of it. I did realize the first 3 weeks of basic training, they do make you feel really isolated. So I realized how much I did rely on my family and how much I missed my mom, even though I was 21 when I joined. So it really taught you how to be self-reliant and challenge yourself in every aspect. After basic training, I went to AIT, which is my advanced individual training. So it was more set up like a college type situation. So for the job I had, it was, you woke up, you almost went to college courses every day, and then afterwards you did PT almost like you were in basic training.
Tell me more about your job.
So the job that I have in psychological operations is more like marketing. So if you think of trying to sell a can of Coke, you're trying to find a way to make other people want that Coke. Psychological operations is the same aspect, but we're trying to sell ideas. We do it through the same format as a marketing would with Coke. So we do that with pamphlets, leaflets, radio broadcasts, face-to-face interactions, and posters. So we're just trying to sell ideas, and you can relate that to marketing on steroids in a sense.
What are some of these ideas you guys are trying to market?
So one idea that we would have that, let's say an area was taking a lot of IEDs. So it was hitting our convoys, it was hurting the locals, so you had the local populace were getting affected by it. What we would do is we would try to change that behavior. What can we do to stop these bombs from happening in that area? And our job is to try to stop or help that without going in their full force and blowing the town up. So we're just trying to stop something from happening without using bullets. So try to use our mind to stop it versus bullets, if that makes sense.
Where were you deployed?
I was deployed in Afghanistan. So the main base I was on was Bagram, so Bagram Airfield.
So once you were there, what kind of things did you have to do?
I was part of an operations cell, so the majority of my deployment was spent in an office type setting. I worked on a computer, basically organized different missions that were going on and tried to track where our teams were during those missions.
Did you have to go into combat?
So with the MLS I have, which I guess I haven't stated yet, I'm in psychological operations. We have 3 different aspects to our job. So we have a tactical detachment, which has tactical teams on it that attach themselves to infantry units, or we add con on to different units to support them. Then we have a headquarters, which was my mainstay for deployment, and then a product development team, which is also, or product development detachment, which is also basically attached to the headquarters where you stay on a base the whole time. There was probably 6 or 7 times that I was brought down to a team aspect, and I did go out into combat or on a couple combat patrols to provide female support, if that makes any sense.
What was the scariest experience that you encountered?
Well, I guess the scariest experience I had is we were on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we were manning a checkpoint. me and another female went down there to train the medics, and then he's down there on how to do face-to-face interaction with the use of an interpreter. So we were operating there, we lost radio contact with a couple of our outposts. So that right there happened to be the scariest moment in life, when you felt isolated with, there's only 3 of us.
So what was your day-to-day schedule like?
Day-to-day schedule. If you could pinpoint a schedule, I guess it would be wake up at 6, try to get some type of PT in, eat breakfast, get in the office at 7, do our whatever duties we needed to do that day, break for lunch, continue on. I guess I didn't usually leave the office till about midnight, and that's on a normal aspect. Then you go back, take a sleep, come back, wake up again at 7, do it all over again, unless we had different missions going on, and then we were running 24-hour offs. So we would end up in the office, and when I say office, it's not necessarily an office building. It was more or less a cardboard shack that had our computer set up in it. And when you're down on a team and you're operating on a team, you would basically hang out where in your barrack situation or wherever you were at, mainly the truck, because our team worked and slept out of their trucks. You sit around until a mission was called, and then you go on mission, so they had it a little more relaxed than your administrative personnel.
Were you able to stay in touch with your family?
I was. The majority of the time I almost talked to my family every day. That's when I was stationed at Bagram, more on the admin side. When you were down on the team level and you were conducting missions, you'd go a few weeks without talking, but housing. So what we called them bee huts. What they basically were plywood, or pieces of plywood, nailed together, and then we threw cots in there. So plywood with a plywood roof, and that's what we lived in. Plywood door. But I had a mountain view, so.
What was your most exciting experience while over there?
The most exciting experience I had was, we were in a Chinook. A Chinook is the bigger helicopter. We were transporting at night from one fob to another. I guess you wouldn't necessarily. It was exciting for me. It was the first firefight that I actually was part of. So, but I was in a Chinook, so you're just sitting there, and the gunners were having the fight, but you were sitting there. So you got to see everything going on. And
what was your rank, what is your rank now, and how many people are you in charge of?
My current rank now is E6, or Staff Sergeant, and I have 2 soldiers underneath me because I moved from the headquarters position down to a tactical position. So I'm in charge of a tactical PSYOP team. When I was deployed, I was only a specialist. I was in charge of no one. Everyone got to tell me what to do, and I worked for a Staff Sergeant in the headquarters. I guess dealing with higher command. That has to be it. I loved every aspect I did over there, except having to deal with people who thought they knew better that were really just making no sense.
Were there any funny moments at your time of deployment?
Yes. I'm an animal lover, and we're not allowed to have pets. Everyone had pets. I had this one kitten, and every time my first sergeant would come by, we would take the kitten and we put it in a backpack. Well, we took the kitten and we put it in the backpack, and he came in and it was briefing him on the brief for the day that I give, and my backpack started moving, and it started tumbling, and it was meowing, and then it was just shaking back and forth. So the whole time we're trying to hide the fact that I have this cat in a backpack. When the first sergeant staying right there, we got busted out for having a cat because of a moving backpack.
Oh, is there anything else that we missed that you think we should cover?
Nope, nothing I can think of.